It's been a little over a year. We didn't forget. We're back down with the 360 Magnum for drag truck. I think it's been long enough. A quick briefing on this. We bought this off of Craigslist. $150, 198,000 miles on it. We've never seen it run. It was complete. We sold the wiring harness, exhaust manifolds, and things like that. Basically, we recuperated our $150. And since then, we've added, well, our goal was to add these Hughes valve spring kit, Oregon cam grind, new timing chain, $135 Speedmaster intake, and carved oil pan. We was going to be between maybe $700 and $800. I kind of pushed that up just a little bit because I had bought these not for this project, but I bought these Odessa heads really cheap from somebody, basically 2 for the price of 1, and I didn't know. I figured I'd use them sometime, so we went ahead and put them on there. You wouldn't have to do that to duplicate this engine that we're building. If you wanted to just buy a 5.9, I'm sure you could get done what we're going to get done for right around $700 to $800. We might be closer to 9 when we're done. We did make a video of this about a year ago, a little over. We can do a quick, just a small little vision of memory lane here. Alright, Jake, head bolts are off and all that. Sunglasses are off. Serious business.
Yeah.
There you go. Whew. Here, I'll pop this beast right up here for you. Ready? Tell me when you're ready.
Ready.
Got it? Okay, just take it and set it right on the ground there. This spring kit, by the way, was a little over $200 shipped when we bought them. So this here would be the truck that the 5.9 is going into, known as drag truck. It's all over my channel. You don't have to look hard to find a video on it. I was going to put the cam in here, the Oregon cam grind, and this is what I found. The bearing, I had one, all the bearings looked normal, except for the one was just beat up. So we bought a Clevite cam bearings. I'm kind of partial to Clevite bearings, and we're gonna take our cam bearing installer tool, and we're gonna go ahead. When I go to put these on, I just make sure that the line here is lined up with the lines here, because there's 4 of them there, and I just line those up. Then I just slide the cam bearing on here, and I just barely snug this up just so this doesn't rock freely on there. And I usually line up the oil hole to one of these. That way when I put it in, also, you know, if you line up, because these are every quarter of a turn, so if you go to the opposite side, you know you got to hold down. Depends on which way you're putting the bearings in, if it's on the engine stand upside down or not. You just want to make sure you're clean in there really good. You don't want nothing inside here where the cam bearing's gonna seat on the block. So you just want to make sure you got your cone seated inside here, and then you can drive this in there carefully, like so. And get it to the one where it's going to go. And because I got the oil pan and the crank on, I'm putting them in this way. And you can see here how I got this straight up, so I know my oil hole straight down. And then all I'm going to do is tap this lightly, gently, consistently, while I take my other hand and keep this firm and flush in there. And I'm going to drive that seat out, and I'm going to drive this all the way so it's seated in the block. I'm not going to show you the tapping because I'm by myself and I don't have a stand here today. So I'm just going to tap it in, but it'll be just more or less tapping it here. Okay, I drove it in, just tap, tap, tap. And you know, it works best if you got at least a 1.5 pound, 2 pound hammer. And just get that all the way up inside there. And just barely unloosen it. And then you just back this all the way out. And if you look, my cam bearing is perfectly lined up with the hole. And that one's set. Alright, repeat, repeat, and away we go. If you're doing it the way I'm doing it, see, this isn't the standard way of doing bearings. But this right here is sticking out back here, so if you slide this back, you can actually unscrew this without turning that, just by unloosening right here. There's another one set. Oil holes lined up just perfectly. Again, most people are doing this with the crank out and all of that, and the engine's upside down. I get that. This is how we're doing this one. By the way, these are set in order in the box, just in case anybody's wondering. Also, some people like to put like a little Vaseline or something on the outside of the cam bearing. I like them to be installed dry. And when you just barely snug this, and when I say snug it, I'm not talking wrench and cranking on it. I just barely turn that. And then I can break it loose just right here. See how I just turned that? And then you don't have to get inside there, and I can pull the whole thing right out. See how easy that was? And there'd be another one in. You can see the hole. Alright, the front one's the tricky one. I'm going to drive it through just like this and try to hold it steady and cross my fingers and hope that I'm lucky enough that I don't damage it. Okay, I was able to tap it in there. Hopefully I didn't damage it. We'll know when I take it out right now. Well, look at there. Looks like it landed just perfect and the oil hole is perfectly lined up. Guys got to get lucky and win with these things once in a while, right? There they all are. With the cam bearings installed, I slipped the cam in. There it is. Oregon grind. And this is what I look for. When the cam's in, you should be able to turn it like this with your hand. Alright, I'll show you the cam specs real quick. What we have here is the cam specs. The intake lift. The intake lift is a 492, exhaust is a 501, but that's on a 1.5 rocker. We know that a Magnum has a 1.6 rocker, so you can add about 30 thousandths of this. So it's going to be about a 530 lift on the exhaust and about a 520 on the 522 on the intake. Duration at 50 would be right here. It'd be 218 on the intake and 224 on the exhaust. So it's not a real wild radical, but it's going to be a whole lot more than what the 318 inside the stock 318 cam that's inside drag truck now. So it'll be a nice cam for what we got. We think it'll work really well. As you can see, I'm sweating. It's hot inside here. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not crying. I'm sweating. And just in case anybody's wondering, thought I'd show you the intake and carb that we're using. Just a 670 Holley and that Speedmaster intake I mentioned. Oh, when we slid that cam inside the block, we put some oil on it. We're going to prime it anyways. You can use assembly lube or whatever you want, but oil will stick just fine, and then we'll prime it before we start that 5.9 when we get there. We really appreciate you tuning in again. Until next time, be safe.